tonight. So let's maybe start there. Let's go to the tape here. We're going to start at the 10:55 mark of the first quarter. And what you're going to see here is just that Nikola Jokic is going to try and pick up Devin Booker in the backcourt very briefly. And Devin Booker is obviously going to get by him. But because of that, as you can see, Denver has two guys trailing right now. This is essentially a 5-on-3 scenario for the Phoenix Suns. And that creates a very real advantageous situation where Devin Booker is going to be able to get into the paint unimpeded. And this is basically just a simple read. If the man that is guarding DeAndre Ayton, I believe that is going to be Aaron Gordon. If he is kind of come further to Devin Booker, that's a dump off pass to DeAndre Ayton. If he doesn't, it's just an easy floater. And you're going to see here, easy floater. Then at the 10:04 mark, this is where we just start getting into Devin Booker's bag and just how ridiculous he was. This is just a simple right or left wing post up here. And Jamal Murray does fine here. There's nothing really that I think he did a good job of holding his ground, making it so that Devin couldn't necessarily get deep into the paint. You'll see that, I think, actually on the next possession that we're going to showcase here. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope really gave ground to Devin Booker. And because of that, Devin got an easy layup. But here, I think Jamal does a pretty good job. But what you're going to see here also is that as Phoenix has emptied out this side for Devin Booker, nobody is coming to help. Like Aaron Gordon is there kind of in the gap a little bit, just kind of waiting to help down on that elbow if necessary. But he also is responsible for Kevin Durant. And I think that another thing we saw Phoenix do throughout the course of the second half particularly was involve Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in a lot of actions, right? They were trying to get those two involved because it became harder for guys like Aaron Gordon, guys like Jamal Murray, guys like KCP, Bruce Brown, to put two on the ball in that circumstance. Those guys end up getting left on an island a little bit against a mid-range maestro like Devin Booker. And when Devin's feeling it like he is tonight, he goes 20 for 25. When he's on an island, it's going to be fine. What they really need to do is try and put two on the ball there, but Phoenix didn't really let them put two on the ball, which I think was an impressive adjustment from Monty Williams here. You're just going to see Devin's going to just kind of shake him a little bit. He's going to face up after that mini post up, going to shake him. He's going to rise up. Jamal doesn't get a hand up here. Probably needs to get a hand up, but this is a shot that I think Denver is in most circumstances not uncomfortable with, but when it's before you know that Devin Booker is feeling it like he did tonight. And once you know that, you're going to start to see some adjustments here. Again, you're going to see this is the possession where Devin's going to post up Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. We're just going to watch this through. Again, just like kind of a wave there from Aaron Gordon. He can't really do anything in help because if he really collapses down and tries to double, that's the same side kick out to Kevin Durant. That's a wide open three. Can't let that happen. This is just KCP not being strong enough to really deal with that on the block. Devin Booker muscles up a little bit there. And I think that throughout this game, just what you're going to see is that Devin Booker's mid-range game was more on point. But in general, leaving him isolated with one defender was not the answer tonight for the Denver Nuggets. Here, you're going to see just a little dribble handoff action there from DeAndre Ayton to Kevin Durant. Durant, again, they're going to try and empty a side out of the court. Look at everybody over there on the right side of the court. Devin has all the space in the world to be able to operate. He's just going to rise up. He's going to knock this down after he separates a little bit from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Here we go again. This is in semi-transition. He's going to pull it out. He's going to get the ball screen here from DeAndre Ayton. And this is a drop coverage scenario. If you've watched this show and if you've watched the Denver Nuggets later in the season when they played a lot of drop coverage with Nikola Jokic, they did not really succeed in those circumstances. Jokic is much better being able to play flatter and at the level of the screen. If you're going to drop him, this is just going to be a little bit too easy for Devin to rise up and knock down this shot. Again, though, in the first quarter particularly, it felt like there was not a lot of, I think the way to put it is there was not a lot of resistance provided by the Denver Nuggets. This is a patented letdown spot. You're on the road. You're up 2-0 in the series already, right? Phoenix has to come out with all sorts of desperation. Phoenix's stars certainly come out with all sorts of desperation. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker come out and really dominate this game to the tune of those 86 points that I mentioned earlier. Here, what you're going to see is that Devin is going to drive. He's going to back down Christian Braun, and this is just sick. Christian Braun plays good defense there. There's nothing you can do about that, but that is also why you can't let Devin Booker get the first 16 points and let him start to feel himself. That's when those shots start to fall for him, when he really starts to feel it. Here we go. We're in the end stages of the first quarter now. That, I think, was at the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. This one's at the 1-minute mark of the first quarter. This is where we're going to see that the overall ability to contain Phoenix's ball handlers was just not quite good enough here. This is just an ole from Jamal Murray. Not good enough. No help at the basket really here. This is just not a great defensive possession from the Denver Nuggets. And I will say this too. I think Jock Landale, this was the first of many very important plays from Jock Landale in this game. He gets just enough of a seal on Christian Braun as Nikola Jokic is trailing the play to where Braun can't get involved really as that potential rim protector. Jeff Green probably needs to be available here a little bit more than he is, but I think that this is a great, great little play from the Phoenix Suns here as a team in general. But now we're going to get into the second quarter. 6-minute mark about of the second quarter. Devin Booker is bringing the ball down the court. We're in transition again. Michael Porter Jr. does a great job here. He really, I think, does as much as he can to kind of wall up with his chest. Devin's going to try and go through that chest because Michael's a little bit skinny. Michael uses his length to actually really contest and make that shot difficult. It's just an insane fall away from Devin Booker, right? Sometimes Devin Booker, if he gets ahead of steam like this, he's going to make these insane fall aways. And he made it. And that's all you can do. So now we're at the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. What we're going to see here, Devin Booker going to catch the ball on the wing against Aaron Gordon, particularly. This is just a show and go. He's going to show it with the right. He's going to put it down with the left, and he's going to drive left. He's going to stop. He's going to pop at the elbow. He's going to knock it down. Again, you had to send two at Devin Booker at a certain point. Denver does that starting like pretty close to maybe not this possession. This is, again, just the next possession down the court. Again, you're going to see here Denver not picking up well enough in transition. Nobody really picks up Devin Booker out on that wing. Michael Porter Jr. has his back turned. Aaron Gordon kind of recognizes it, but Aaron's trying to pay attention to where Kevin Durant is at all times because that's his assignment in this series. Aaron Gordon does, eventually I think maybe make Michael Porter realize. I don't know if he said something there, but Porter turns and tries to contest, but I mean, once you get Devin Booker's feet set, once you get him planted like that, it's going to be curtains. So that's a little bit too easy. None of this is all that complicated, though, in terms of what you're seeing. Phoenix's offense in the first half to get to these 67 points, it was not complicated. It was Kevin Durant driving, trying to finish. Kevin Durant isos on Aaron Gordon, getting out in transition, running the court. None of this is like all that. There's not like a lot of X's and O's to break down here. This is kind of simple stuff where we're emptying out one side of the court and Denver's not really doing anything to adjust and stop that from happening. So Devin's just going to rock and we're going to let it go. So here, Devin Booker, again, this is just a drive. Nobody picks him up at the 4-minute mark this time of the second quarter. This is just a really, this is, again, just a great example of Denver's contain on dribble penetration not being good enough, right? You would like to see Aaron Gordon hopefully be able to wall up. But again, when you're operating in these circumstances where this is basically a keeper on a dribble handoff, right? This is an option play. Think of an option play in football where the quarterback has the option to keep it or to pitch it. This is exactly what this is. This is an option play for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Devin Booker has the ball. He has the option to pitch it around the play to Kevin Durant, but instead, he recognizes that this is an empty side of the court and that he's probably going to be able to get that advantage on Aaron Gordon because Aaron has to pay attention. He has to bring himself to the right because that's the direction his man is going. And it's a really smart design here because you have DeAndre Ayton coming up to set the screen in the middle of the court, and KCP essentially is going to treat this as if it's an ice situation. He's going to try and get his body in between the screener, which is Ayton, and his man, which is Devin Booker, and force Devin Booker to go baseline here. The problem is, again, that Aaron Gordon just doesn't do a good enough job of dribble contain because of the design of sending his man, Kevin Durant, behind the play with the option play for the dribble handoff. This is a really smart design. This is probably the closest thing to X's and O's that I thought was very creative in the first half from Phoenix. Mostly it was just Devin Booker really getting loose and being able to take advantage of those isolation situations because Denver's dribble penetration was not good enough, and because in general, their decisions to not quite double, not quite bring enough help for particularly Devin Booker in the first half was not good enough. He ends up at 27 in the first half here. And it was just a phenomenal first half. Now we're into the second half. We're at the 7:30 mark of the third quarter. And Devin Booker has not made a field goal yet, if I remember correctly, in the third quarter. And it's in part because of the way that Denver tried to condense the court. And we're going to see this throughout this second half clips that we're going to watch. Denver did a really good job of sagging off of guys like Cam Payne, like Landry Shamet here. Devin Booker, again, is on that empty side of the court here. Everybody is on the right side of the court. Devin Booker isolated on the left side of the court here. And this is a pitch back, but I don't love that DeAndre Ayton kind of rolls Nikola Jokic into a potential help situation there into the middle of the paint. And B, look at how far over now Michael Porter Jr. is helping. He is trying to really pay attention to Devin Booker and stop him from being isolated on that empty side of the court. He's trying to give Kentavious Caldwell-Pope help there. Look at how far away he is from Landry Shamet here. And how far he's going to have to recover to get back into help. This is just going to be a really solid, well-contested shot by Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. This is what Denver wanted in this circumstance. Devin Booker is just a great basketball player, and he knocked it down. Denver made these adjustments. They did a really good job of making it harder for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to be able to beat them in the second half. That's why they came back from down 15 points at the, I believe, 2-minute mark or so left in the first half. They were down 67-52 in this game. And look at the score here at the point that we're watching. It's 73-68 before Booker knocks down this shot. Eventually, Denver takes the lead in the third quarter, in part because of these defensive adjustments, making it much harder. Phoenix's offense completely shut off until they started recognizing that they have to get out and run. They have to just take these early opportunities when they're given. If there's a good shot for one of Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, we got to take it and we got to go, right? So here we go again. Devin Booker bringing the ball up the court at about the 7-minute mark of the third quarter. He is going to get, I believe, here we go. This is Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray guarding him. Michael Porter kind of goes under like a potentially kind of slippy action there from Cam Payne. And because of it gets that, just that little bit of separation in space, Devin Booker is going to rise up and just knock down this three-pointer. But again, look at the amount of time on the shot clock. That's like, you know, by the time he lets that loose, that's 7 seconds or less. Classic Phoenix Suns under Mike D'Antoni offense, right? Here we go again. 21 seconds left on the shot clock. He's passing half court. This is a classic 2-for-1 scenario at 34 seconds left on the game clock. But again, 7 seconds or less Suns offense. We're trying to get up. We're trying to run because Denver has taken the lead because their half court defense has gotten stingy and they've adjusted in terms of what we're trying to do on offense. Here we go again. Devin Booker just gets this early shot and knocks it down. This is just a pretty sick little set, a little slick Iverson cut across the play here. Again, you're going to see, I believe that's Kevin Durant come from that strong side corner over to the weak side corner to empty out this side of the court for Devin Booker here. And Devin Booker is going to get this drive. And he's going to blow through. I believe that was Bruce Brown guarding him that time tough shot. Bruce Brown bodies up, makes it hard to go through his chest. But at the end of the day, that's just a really, really, again, smart set that isolates Devin Booker on one side of the court. That was the goal for Phoenix tonight. We're trying to get Devin Booker isolated on an empty side of the court. Here we go. This is just a absolutely sick set of dribble moves, and he just, gets loose from Jeff Green, but not even gets loose. I mean, it was just absurd that he was able to make that shot. The initial action here at the top to be able to do that is you're going to see kind of a stagger action between Kevin Durant and Jock Landale setting the screen and Devin Booker coming through. Your goal here is to try and get that switch from essentially Landale's guys, what you're hoping for. You're hoping it's not Aaron Gordon that's going to be able to come out. And indeed it is Landale's man who has to come out and defend. Jeff Green does a really good job here. He stays in front of his man. He slides with them. He contests. It's just a tough shot. That's the way it was going for Devin Booker tonight. And then finally here, another kind of handoff keeper play here. So Landale's going to set this screen coming across the play just to get Devin Booker a little bit loose. Option play where he can complete the dribble handoff here to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can come across the play into a ball screen for Jock Landale, and that probably ends up being a drop scenario from Nikola Jokic, just given where he is in the play at that point, if he does decide to execute the dribble handoff. But because he doesn't, empty side of the court, he's essentially isolated on Nikola Jokic, and that's a shot that Jokic is just not going to be able to contest at all because Jokic's feet aren't quite quick enough and he's not light enough on them. This was just classic Devin Booker the entire game. Unbelievable work, I thought, from Phoenix to get him loose in the way that they wanted to get him loose by getting him isolated on one side of the court. I love the way that they utilized Kevin Durant in a lot of actions with him in order to force Denver's defense into difficult scenarios in terms of dribble penetration contain responsibilities. And I just really loved the way that Denver responded in the second half, to be honest. I love the way they adjusted, forcing that help side over, making things more difficult. It's just sometimes Devin Booker is going to knock down shots, and that's all there is to it. Devin Booker, an incredible player. He's probably been the second best player in the playoffs so far, behind Jimmy Butler. Unbelievable player so far in these playoffs. He's really emerged into what people wanted him to be coming out of Kentucky, and certainly after his run toward the finals in 2020, and then also throughout the last few years as he's emerged into an all-star. This is not just your run-of-the-mill all-star, third-team all-NBA player in Devin Booker anymore. This is a guy that at this point is one of the clear best players left in the playoffs. And I fully believe in him to continue this run at this point.